And I like to say, whatever you do, be true to you and be happy at the end of the day, because, for me, it's like when you do something and then you're complaining about it. I don't, that's kind of not a good vibe for me. I don't want to be an enabler, because what you said, Gail, was so important. Enabling someone, then it makes them unable, right, to live on their own, to stand on their own. And that's definitely not something that we want, right?
Right. Happy Wednesday, elevators, and welcome to episode 17 of our She Elevates podcast. I'm Gail, your personal development coach.
I'm Jessica, your financial strategist.
Hi, I'm Tammy, your spiritual motivator,
who we also call the voice.
Somebody put her on the voice.
Wait until I take our voice lesson.
Girl, you don't need any. You're about to get discovered. And Antoinette, guys, is our producer. So how are you ladies feeling today? I know it's a whole lot of holiday activity going on.
Yes. Oh my God. I've been running crazy. I'm like, listen, when you have like 30-something nieces and nephews, it's rough. I even tried to go in the Dollar Tree just to get some cards. I said, Bryson, come on, Mom, we can't do this today. It was like the whole city was in the Dollar Tree. I was like, I cannot do it.
Wow.
That's
that holiday rush.
That holiday, but because Jessica's not retired, let me just tell you some of the advantages.
See?
You can get there at 8 o'clock. You can go when they open. Or something. Well,
on a Thursday, on a Wednesday,
Thursday, those times no one's there. You can have conversations.
That to be true, because I did that last week.
Yeah. So I too feel, but honestly, I feel like, oh my God, Christmas is already over. After all of that shopping and giving gifts, I'm like, okay, let's just take a break now. But it is amazing.
So yeah, Tammy, talk a little bit about that. Our elevators don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my God, it touches my heart to think about it. Okay, so let me try to put it in words. Okay, so actually I was a part of 3 different events. One, we had our church typically would have a women's holiday brunch. And we go out to this nice restaurant where we have, oh my God, delicious food, and we do gift exchanges. And it was just a lot of fun. But because of COVID, things changed, right? And we have not been able to do that. So actually someone suggested this before as well to maybe find a women's shelter that we could donate to. So this year I thought, well, let's try that. And we contacted Lifestyle Maryland Services, and I felt like I hit the jackpot because they support women's shelter, they support children, men. And so we asked the women, instead of going to the brunch, if they would donate their resources, whatever you would spend on your brunch or your gift, to give that to a women's shelter. And they were in need of toiletries. So I'm telling you, Jessica, Gail, you saw it. I had like so many toiletries, you name it. Okay, they got it.
So we got a couple minutes in before she sang. That was pretty good.
But I'm going to tell you, so then to just speed it up. So yes, shout out to all the women that supported the women's shelter. And then we have our, along with that, we donated or we adopted, right, 8 children. And so we, back in the day at work, we would be a part of the Central Union mission where we would adopt a child and we would go shopping. So we did just that. We went shopping and it was clothes, it was toys. So we made sure they had shoes and PJs. And, that was a little challenging, right? Because you have to really go in and look at the sizes. So I've been doing it and I had 5 kids, right? Thank you, Gail, for Gail actually funded one. I did the shopping.
So it wasn't hard for me at all. Get some little cash out.
Yes, I have to tell you, like the support was awesome. And then last but not least, Christmas on Wheels. Yes, Tammy's Outreach Program, Inc. We sponsored the Christmas on Wheels drive where we actually, this year we supported about 50 children with girls with dolls and boys with trucks and other little, trinkets in their bags. So, oh my God. Yeah, you guys will see some videos of it, but I'm so grateful. It was so wonderful. So we delivered those on Friday and Saturday. Yeah.
So those things went straight to the shelter
straight
this
to
year.
the shelter this year. Yes.
So Jessica, in previous years, Christmas on Wheels it was us actually going to the neighborhood and delivering the toys. That's where my outfit came from. I just
you can go ahead and stand up.
Come on, Mrs. Claus.
Miss Claus. There you go. There you go. And you know what was so cute, Jessica? Hey, it was there at the girls. They bought me a sweater, a dress, a tunic or whatever. We all had something similar on to that.
Yes.
We looked like, we had, you know what?
It was amazing.
Honestly, it really does do your heart well when you give.
It does.
Because the joy that we felt, just from giving those gifts, and it was the same. We took all of those bags to Lifestyles of Maryland Services. They were just like in awe and so appreciative.
Aww.
And then the other one. So look, it's not over. I'm going to volunteer on Tuesday to distribute food and gifts to children in Charles County. So yeah.
Wow. That's a lot of service. Yeah.
And I think it's the best part of the year that
just
to be able to serve at that capacity.
Time.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Y'all hear me sing. Did y'all hear that?
We heard it.
I was kind of trying to be the backdrop too. So that was good. Keep talking over me. But thank you, Gail, for shout out to again everyone that supported, because I couldn't do it by myself. But again, so TOPS, we are in full operation. I was like, okay, Tammy's Outreach Program. And I have to shout out my friend Chaz. He's like my work brother who gave me that name. He would say, you just help so many different people. I'm going to call you Top. And he would nickname me this at work. What Top do this weekend? And so it just kind of ran, it stuck with me. And yeah, that's what we did. So this time of year, we definitely wanted to see smiles on children and women. And it was very, very fulfilling. So
awesome.
I love it. It's amazing, to see what we can do when you just take action and do a little something, and how it grows, because this started small and it just blossoms and grows every year. So, I love, Jessica, to your point, this is the time of year for the giving and the service, and, make it more about getting gifts, right?
Yes,
absolutely.
Okay. All right, ladies. So I guess we should have a podcast. Last week, we talked about venting and sharing personal information with our girlfriends. Should we? Shouldn't we? What should we say? So when you finish this episode, go back and watch that one and check out how we dive into the dark side of a friendship. It's really, really good.
It's real.
It's real. Right. And this week, ladies, we're talking about how a helping hand is sometimes just unintentional enabling, because that line can get really blurred for us when you're just naturally a nurturer and you have a big, huge heart, which clearly everybody here does. And just to level set, guys, helping, of course, means that we're assisting with things that someone is incapable of doing for themselves, and enabling is where we're constantly rescuing them, which is keeping them from dealing with negative consequences of their actions. And that person needing the help, they kind of become unable to live their lives in a healthy, independent, and responsible manner. And we, or the enabler, just ends up taking on responsibilities that are not truly theirs. So that kind of reminds me of over a year ago when I worked for IRS. No, it was longer than that, but just trying to say I'm retired. But it reminds me of when I worked at IRS. I was a software developer for like 10 years. And then I became a manager, like for the first time ever. So my entire career up until then was, just working individually on my kingdom, just me, mine. And I became a manager, and I was the manager of software testers. And they were actually testing the programs that I either developed or maintained. And so when they couldn't figure out how to do certain tests, or they couldn't do it within a time frame that would meet our deadline, I would just like take over and I would finish the work because, it was easier for me to do it as a developer because, we had to have higher qualifications than a tester. And so I would just finish the work, and, we started shining our little group, and, they were giving us more work. Well, this went on for some time until I realized that my workload was heavier than everybody else's because they knew that I would just finish their work, if it couldn't happen. And so I ended up having to actually do my job and teach them how to test using processes and techniques and everything else that would allow them to meet their deadline. So I was really being an enabler in that situation because, I could just whip it out, and it wasn't hard for me. But at some point when my workload is crazy and everybody else is chilling, it was like, okay, something's wrong with this picture. And so elevators, tell us some of the ways that you've enabled people and others. And ladies, Jessica, Tammy, what have been some of your experiences of being an enabler or knowing someone else who was an enabler?
Well, with me, even like in the workplace, being a full-time entrepreneur, having people work for you, it can be a bit of a challenge sometimes because you need it done fast, right? And if a person is not doing it according to how the speed you want it to be done at, it's so easy for you to enable them and be like, let me go ahead and do it. I'm gonna go ahead and do it because I know what needs to be done. But then that takes away the training, but it also enables them because they feel like, well, shoot, she gonna do it anyway. So I can just fiddle faddle for a minute and she'll come do it. So you have to be cautious of it. But I mean, as a entrepreneur, as a boss, you have to say, okay, this is training time. You got to have patience with people, right?
Oh my goodness.
And so that's some guy working with me on some.
Yes, that's growth for us, right?
Yes,
like because it's so easy to just take it and do it.
Right? So absolutely. I have to scale back. And even in relationships, I know last week we spoke about friendships, how much to disclose to a friend. But what about doing disclosure? You are enabling that friend to maybe, in my case, stay in a relationship. I've had several friends that encouraged me to stay in a relationship, which went against what I actually felt like I should be doing. And so by them having that yes to me, it kind of kept me in a situation longer than I should have been. And throughout communicating with them, I felt like I was being enabled to stay in a relationship that I knew I shouldn't have been in for that long. And so, I mean, there's like so many different forms of how you can actually enable a person or versus you actually helping someone. So it is a fine line, but as women, it's in our nature. We always want to help. But it's that fine line. And Tammy, you looking like she didn't went there
because I'm right there with you. And you said something. It's in our nature. Some of us really are nurturers, and we're servants. And I believe that's in my DNA. Our family. We're just servers. We're there to help. Give a lending hand or to be there. So it does really have well, there's a fine line, right, between
Yes.
enabling versus helping. So I'm really glad that we're really delving into this conversation so we can be clear, because sometimes I think I'm
Exactly.
helping and I very well could be enabling, right? And I love
Yes.
it when she said enabling is when you're rescuing someone, right, from doing something that they could do for themselves. But when
Mm-hmm.
you're helping, you're assisting. I still just
Mm-hmm.
like, because I think I'm, assisting, but really, am I rescuing them? So, I can relate again from the job situations, being in management as well, to just like you said, our personal lives and our relationships. So many times, you're just like, well, you need some money, or, if they're asking you, and then give that, or use your resources, your energy, and all of those things, right, to
Mm-hmm.
do something for someone else that they could do for themselves, but for whatever reason, they did not. And then you're like, oh my God. So now, my schedule is crazy because I've used my time, right, to do those other things. But I will
Yeah.
admit, I'm growing in my area of saying no.
Absolutely.
I grew into no years ago. You really, oh, that
But
was
my first time
we're gonna,
saying no, I was like, ooh,
oh, that felt good.
that
Yes.
really
Did I
did
just do
feel
that?
good.
And you know what I do? I will say no and let me help you. So
Mm,
I remember a situation where someone was asking me for something, and I really saw it, right? That this is a pattern, okay? And I'm
yes.
not helping you. So let me make some suggestions of ways that you can help yourself. And when I saw that look like, and at the end of that conversation, they said, so is that a no? I said, oh, yes, it is.
Mhm. It's like they be waiting on you to say no. Like, nah,
Right.
you gotta
Well,
say
they really wanted me to say yes. And when I gave them the
mhm.
suggestions on how they could do it for themselves, they didn't receive that. So they just
No.
wanted the handout, right? But
Yeah.
And
hey, a lot of
to your
times,
point, Tammy, unfortunately, that can lead to a strain on the relationship
oh, absolutely.
because, yeah, after people, they especially someone who loves that you're enabling them,
Mhm.
they know very well that they don't have to be responsible. A lot of times, they're not going to be happy when you're telling them to step up to the
That's the
Exactly.
plate.
price we pay,
And
right?
that's why I said they probably waiting on you to say no, because in their mind, they're like, I know she ain't just gonna sit up here and tell me no, though. Like
Oh,
you
they're
got
waiting for that. Okay, I
Exactly.
got
so
you. I
that's that
got you.
guilt, that's that guilt route. Like,
Yeah.
no, I'm gonna say
Yeah.
no and I'm gonna wear it with a smile. No.
So I do, right? I try to assess, right, the need. My mother used to say, is this greed versus a need, right? But if there's a need, and so I make that decision, whether I'm going to whatever it is, based on what I see as a need. And if I feel that it's a need, and I consider myself, what do I have going on? How is this going
Mhm.
to affect my resources? How is this going to affect my schedule? And I believe that's important, right? When you're doing these things. And I like to say,
Absolutely.
whatever you do, be true to you and be happy
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, because, for me, it's like when you do something and then you're complaining about it. I don't, that's kind of not a good vibe for me. So
Anyway,
I'm glad, Gail, we're talking about enabling, because I'm like, I really need to hone in on it. I don't want to be an enabler, because what you said, Gail, was so important. Enabling someone, then it makes them unable, right, to
Mhm.
live on their own, to stand on their own. And that's
Stand on their
definitely not
own.
something that we want, right?
right.
This episode is brought to you by Top Inc., Tammy's Outreach Program, where we provide comprehensive services, programs, and resources to the public for the improvement of urban communities. Our services include counseling, educational programs, personal development, and other random acts of kindness. Our goal is to help uplift and support others. You can follow us, Top Inc., on our Facebook page, TOPINC. Thank you so much. She Elevates, because together, Top Inc. and She Elevates are changing lives.
I remember my mom used to say, I'm not about to help nobody who ain't about to help themselves.
All right,
And I
mama.
used to be like,
Ooh.
how they gonna help themselves if they need help? And then it takes me back to like, if you take one step, God will take the next 2 steps.
That's right.
So you gotta be able to be willing to take a step yourself, or don't expect nobody else to help you. Stop trying to make your problem other people's problem.
Come on.
Yes. One of my
go ahead.
favorite things, sayings is don't ask God to order your steps if you're not willing to move your feet. And that's exactly what you're talking about. And guys, so sometimes we can see it when it's outside, but sometimes when it's inside the house with moms and kids, it's a little harder to see because dads tend to be, they're a little more emotionally removed from, raising kids, but us, it's all hard. And it's like, are we enabling them or are we helping them? Sometimes that line is so blurred, we don't know. And we just do what our heart tells us to do, help our babies, right?
Yeah, that's a key word there, Gail, because you think about it though, I feel that it's sometimes a challenge is because we have helped our babies. So we grown with our children. We're still treating them like babies where we have to feed, change their pamper. We have to feed them their food. So we have to grow
with
up
their 20-year-old self.
We don't need them, right? They don't need us any longer to feed them and to change them, So I think that's part of it. My mother was really big on we have to grow with the relationship. Right.
Yeah.
So,
but to Gail's point, like it's hard when you in it because you don't see it from that lens. You're right on point, so you don't see it from that lens. I know my son be getting me, boy. Oh my God. I know he gets me. And like he's about to be 8 years old and he refuses to learn how to tie his shoe. And so he'll come in and he'll be like, Mom, tie my shoe. I'm like, Bryson, when are you going to learn to tie your shoe? He was like, I really feel like that's something I don't need. He was like, I can just tuck my shoestrings in my shoe. And I'm like, no, you need to
get some Velcro.
Girl, he is not.
Well, I have to be transparent,
so cute,
Jessica.
Though.
Sometimes when I'm walking and my shoe comes untied, I just tuck them in. So.
My God. Don't enable him, Tammy.
But he's so cute, Jessica. I mean, does he really need to tie his shoes?
Yes, he does. I'm bending over tie his shoes.
You can tell Bryce that Auntie Tammy tuck her shoestrings in, but he has to wait to learn. See, that's the key.
I'm gonna make sure this the episode he don't listen to because he listens to them all. He gonna be like, well,
because we have various solutions. You can get shorter shoestrings so they don't necessarily drag on the ground.
Require tying. No, we won't.
To all of my listeners, this is what enabling looks like. Okay.
Oh, you know what? That's a good one because how about when you are you're trying to help someone, and then you have this beautiful family member that comes along or godmother. Let me just do this for you, Pookie.
Absolutely.
There's a reason why I said no.
And you know what? That's a very good point, Tammy. And that is our dynamic, me and Tammy, because she's the godmother of my children and I'm the godmother of her son. And her son can come to me and ask me for anything. Godmother, can you co-sign for me for a car? Absolutely.
Y'all let me know what y'all need. Anything you all need, because you're great and wonderful. But hey, they're independent. They don't really need anything.
They really are. They're very independent.
But to your point, just knowing again the difference between enabling and helping. I did read also that enabling is when you downplay or ignore reality. Mm-hmm. When you are, you live in an avoidance, right? You kind of avoid the real issue, or you make excuses. So there are certain components that we really need to hone in on.
Let's put a pin in it right there because that's
I saw that pin, girl.
Girl, that hit something because let's talk about enabling ourselves. When you stated staying in a situation too long, like how many times in relationships have a person stayed in a situation too long? Are we enabling ourselves? How do we learn not to do that when you're in a relationship? When it's not a
Jessica, to that same point, you're in the picture. So it's harder when you're in the picture to see that I'm just making excuses to stay in this situation. I'm making excuses for me. I'm making excuses for him. and you're keeping that cycle going. So
that's a deep one. That's
I think
a
it does
deep one.
require that level
Therapy.
of maturity and that self-awareness. So all of those things, we understand elevators. It's easier said than done, but we can do
easier
it.
said than done.
I
Yeah.
believe when you have a true tribe, or you have relationships that are authentic and they are genuine, they will tell you some things that may not be exactly what you want to hear,
That's
but it's what
good.
you need to hear as
'Cause
well.
I
And
have been in those situations, and it's hard. It's like, when you're a child and it's the first time taking a pill and it's hard to swallow.
it's hard to
It's one of
swallow.
those, yes, it's one of
Yeah.
those feelings, because
Yeah.
you genuinely love this person and you see what they're doing isn't right. It's so hard to have to tell a person that. But I'm telling you, when you tell them that's you being true to yourself, because at the end of the day, you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, what type of friend am I if I continue to let this person, act out like this or do this thing in such a way? And so I've been in that situation, and boy, I tell you, it was so hard. It was hard. I was crying while saying it, but it needed to be said. It needed.
And you know the old saying, right? Sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
You say
and
it.
then the timing when you say it, you wait for that door to be open if it's necessary, because sometimes it's not required, right, that you say it. But when you have to, I believe you pray, or that door is going to be open, that window of opportunity, right, for me to say, well, have you considered, or something like that. Yeah.
And I actually lost a friendship. We grew up, went to school together. We met like in junior high, and we had been friends all the way up into adulthood. And it wasn't even voicing an opinion. It was stating to her, I heard come out of this person's mouth myself, who they were in a relationship with. And again, I was like, what type of friend would I be if I don't, tell this person? And my mom used to always say, girl, coming between a woman and her man. But hey, at the end of the day, my loyalty is with her, because it can be easily turned around down the road.
Podcast.
And some beating came out, and it could have easily been said that, oh, she knew, and so what type of friend
isn't that even worse?
I'm telling you, that's a podcast right there. When you get involved in another person's relationship, trust me, I know that is I believe, a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, it is. That's a podcast.
Yes, especially from a sisterhood. But we want to be helpers, right, and not enablers. And again, I think we've said it. It's not always easy to even distinguish. Am I enabling? But some things are, I believe, clear. But sometimes the subtleties, right, are there, and you really don't know. But again, I like that fact or when Gail shared that at the top, right? When you enable someone, remember, then they're unable to stand alone.
Absolutely.
Yes, that was good, ladies. So thank you for your input on that. I think we need to slide into something messy.
Did we acknowledge our Christmas edition?
Oh my God.
Attire.
I just want to be very transparent, because when I got on, I did not know we was doing a Christmas theme. And they was like, oh, you didn't know? No, nobody told me. So y'all, I listened.
Well, let me just
I had to run out there and get my son.
I love your reindeer ears.
Yes.
And let me just let you know, Jessica, I looked totally different when I came on the podcast. I had on a blue shirt. I had my hair up. And I didn't look Christmassy at all. And Tammy came on with those little those jingle pins.
Jingling.
Like, oh, this is like our next podcast is going to be after Christmas. I was like, BRB.
Wait, what happened? Huh?
Jessica, let me tell you, she came back with a full wardrobe change. I was excited. I'm like, no, we're going to go get the hat. So Jessica wasn't really playing as well as, it seemed. So we're being transparent, you guys. Hey. But you know what I love? The fact that we all could feed off of each other.
It made it happen.
Because that was my contribution to the episode today. Christmas edition. And let's do, the Christmas thing.
And we did. We pulled it off. I think we did
Pulled
great.
it off.
Absolutely. Because I wouldn't want you to do too much to hide that beautiful hair.
Come through now. Come through.
I love your good old wig.
Okay, let's go, Messy.
Well, I'm gonna be serious a little bit for the beginning. And I don't know if that's my computer or somebody else's, but Miss Claudette Colvin, you guys know who Miss Claudette Colvin is?
Do tell.
Who's that?
She's actually the first woman who refused to give up her seat on the bus. But for certain reasons, they chose to go with Miss Rosa Parks. No shades to Miss Rosa Parks, beautiful woman. But Claudette Colvin, the woman who refused to give up her bus seat 9 months before Rosa Parks, and this is on theguardian.com. It was a spring afternoon, 1955, when a teenager's spontaneous act of defiance changed U.S. history. But why did it take 40 years for her to finally get some credit? It's crazy, man, how this is not the first time where it has been years, even decades, for certain people to get acknowledged by certain acts.
Talked about that a few times.
The spelling bee. I think there was
the
right.
spelling bee. It was
Yeah,
like 80 something years for her.
Yes.
But it was the incident happened March 2nd of 1955, Human Spring Day. She was actually a student at Booker T. Washington High School, a segregated school, and segregated school public bus, which wound up through going through segregated neighborhoods, gradually filling up the passengers. A 15-year-old gifted Black student with aspirations to become a civil rights attorney, took a window seat near the exit door. She gazed outdoors until the white driver instructed her to give up her seat for a white passenger standing nearby, but she refused. It may have been 65 years ago, but Colvin still remembers it all in vivid detail, almost drawing the scene with her flowing hand motions and words. I love how they just have those words going in this passage. History had me glued to the seat, she says, tapping her shoulders. It felt as if Harriet Tubman's hand was pushing me down on the one shoulder, and Sojourner Truth's hand was pushing me down on the other. Wow. Learning about those two women gave me the courage to remain seated that day. As two white police officers dragged her from the bus, her body went limp. She shouted repeatedly, "It's my constitutional right." She was handcuffed, placed in jail, and charged with violating segregation laws, disturbing the peace, and assaulting a police officer. She pleaded not guilty, but was convicted. 2 other charges were dropped on appeal. Colvin's unplanned act of bravery was almost written out of civil rights history. The Montgomery bus boycott began 9 months after her arrest, spurred by the arrest of Rosa Parks in an almost identical incident, so the story went. That was until revisionist historians, a handful of journalists, and Phillips Hoos, National Book Award winning biography of Colvin, corrected the record in the early 2000s. In truth, the actions that Colvin took on that warm day in March planted the seed for the boycott, and critically in legal foundations to challenge transportation, segregation laws in federal court. I bring this up because what really transpired throughout reading from this source is that they chose to go with Rosa Parks all because Miss Colvin was pregnant at the time. And I'm like, why will her pregnancy discredit her stand in history?
Mm-hmm.
We got to do better as a culture. And I'm so thankful that now they are acknowledging the fact and not allowing it to be written out of history, because she took a stand. And for her to stay in that, it was like Harriet Tubman on one arm and Sojourner Truth on the other arm.
That's
Girl,
heavy.
come on.
Yes. Wow.
She deserves the light that is being shined on her right now.
Wow. So she's still alive.
I believe so, yeah.
That is amazing. That has to be interesting, though, to know that you preceded Harriet Tubman.
Rosa Parks.
Rosa
You know that's our
Parks.
girl. I know.
Look,
You
Gail
know.
went all the way back.
You know, Gail. Come on, what are you? She is Harriet Tubman of finances, right?
I
Or-
am, absolutely. So
Yes,
it's interesting that she was living with that all these years, knowing that she,
Yes.
did that 9 months earlier.
Yes.
Wow.
And
And
I
just
read
because
about
she was
it.
pregnant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I read about it a couple of times, but even like in, going up in school and, Black history reports and stuff, everything was, when it came to, not giving up the seat, it was always the light around Miss Rosa Parks. And she wasn't the first to do it.
Right.
Mhm.
But you think about how important is image, right? Because
Yes.
she was like the face of the movement, right? So we're going to use her. She's,
She was a more acceptable face.
and more acceptable,
Yes.
right? Here you have this young woman who's pregnant. So, people can start poking holes in that. And I think it
Yeah.
was about, trying to put someone up that was, no one's perfect, right? But
Thank
where
you.
you can
Like
minimize some of that.
dignified.
But at the end of the day, shout out to Miss Coben. Was it Claudette Coben?
Yeah, both of them
Yeah.
actually. Rosa
Yeah.
Parks and Claudette.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just going because we know Rosa gets the acknowledgement. So I was
Yeah.
saying shout out in this moment because, she did that. And obviously, it's been there, but now she's getting her recognition. And again, to both of those strong women, because it took a
Strong
lot
women.
to do that.
Yes,
right?
it took
Yeah.
a lot. It just makes me think about, because of course I live in Montgomery, Alabama, and we have the Rosa Parks Museum. You have the statue of Rosa Parks and all of that stuff. And it's like, do she feel discredited in some form of fashion? Like, where's my statue? Things like that. It makes me think about that
Yeah.
when she was the first to do it.
Mhm.
And
Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing.
yeah, in my next story, you baby boomers may not know. Meek Mill, you guys know Meek Mill?
I love Meek Mills. No, I really don't.
Look, hey,
Gail.
I'm sorry. I was like, look, who?
I heard of
I've
Meek
I've heard
Mills.
the name. Look, we've heard of
Like
me.
Meek Mill, he's a Philly rapper, but like Top, he did a lot for his community this year. It states that this is according to Shade Room. Meek Mill partners with several entities, including Rock Nation, to donate $500,000 in Christmas gifts to Philadelphia families. Lovely. Oh, I just love it. Said Christmas came early for Philly residents thanks to Meek Mill and several partners. On Sunday, families stood in line stretching across several blocks to receive goodies from the city's youth. In total, the Philly native blessed the community with $500,000 worth of presents. Residents walked away with gifts such as MacBooks, bikes, gift cards, dolls, Amazon Fire
That's
tablets, and
amazing.
even winter coats. The giveaway even lasted from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. local time. Meek combined financial contributions from himself, his Dream Chasers organization, Rock Nation, Sixers co-owner Michael Rubin, and New England Patriots owner Robert Kraft to bring the event to life. He stated, "I feel like you can help. If you can help. Meek told local media after arriving to the event, "We've been doing it for a while now in our community." Aside from this main giveaway, Meek also reportedly donated an additional $30,000 to the Philly chapter of group called 12 Days of Christmas per NBC. The volunteer organization assists families who are in need of supplies throughout the holidays. I brought this up because I absolutely love and adore moments like this, and knowing how much of a force we are when we are together, holding hands. He teamed up with some other groups to get this done.
Yeah.
You know how many smiles. I could just only imagine the smiles that were on those kids' faces. Even the parents who struggled throughout the year and didn't know how they was gonna make their children's Christmas a good Christmas. And just to see that they were able to do that, over $500,000. And we're not talking about he gave gifts like
Coats,
MacBooks.
MacBooks, like what?
Oh my God. I
Love
just
it.
know those kids were smiling. Oh my God. Shout out to Meek Mill and his partner.
Yes.
The She Elevates. Thank you guys. That is
Yes.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Come through me.
We're just encouraged,
Yes.
you know. And I think, you know, for me, it's like encouraging others. The reason we share this, right? Not so much because we're trying to get recognition, but to encourage others to start where you are. You know, just to give back. It feels so, it's a fulfilling, first of all, you know, it's very rewarding. And at the end of the day, to help someone who is really in need.
Exactly. It's a joy that's unmatched. Like,
Oh, me.
It
to be
really
able
is.
to just
I
give.
love it.
And And like he stated, he said this is something they had been doing
Been
within
doing.
the community, within his community, but to treat the whole Philly, you
Mm.
partner
And to
up,
partner up with those other
Yes.
people, like you said.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's I believe it. Look, when we come together, my goodness. Come on.
Yes.
Nothing we can't achieve.
Ooh, what's that scripture? 1 chase 1,000, 2
The
10,000.
10,000
I'm
of
just
life.
saying. So, you know, we can, I know they're talking like in the spirit world, but when we come together, right?
yes. And
Some
that's
others
what
saying
it's
it
about.
hasn't downloaded yet, though.
And speaking of funds, I mean, I just wanted to mention this because I'm curious to know how much money he's making. I'm all in somebody's business now. Well,
Bessie.
have to pay $11 billion in taxes. Elon Musk tweeted, for those wondering, I could just
That's,
hear
what
him
that's
right
how
now.
much tax
For
I want
those
to pay.
wondering,
Mm,
I will pay
mm,
over
mm.
$11 billion in taxes this year.
That's how much tax
11
I want to pay.
11 billion. There was someone else who built a house, but okay, what was the pastor? And they had to pay a lot in taxes, but they avoided it because we put it under. This is kind of messy. They identified it as a parish. What is it? A parsonage. Come on, help me with that. But it was like a home for the church that the church owned.
Mm.
So it went to me about avoiding taxes because it was like, what in the world? So I know. Shout out to me. What is it? Was that Milan? That was
Elon Musk. Yeah.
Elon.
Somebody said, I
Elon
don't
Musk.
even want to know how much he makes in a year. And then they said,
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
But somebody
Well,
also said Uncle Sam be hitting licks all year.
yeah, we'll have to talk about taxes, being that we came from the IRS world. So I always say pay your taxes, right? But yeah, we're
Pay
coming
your
up on tax season. Soon.
Yeah, my
So-
business season, and it's gonna be quite different.
Wow.
This
Wow.
year. Yeah, another subject.
Okay.
Don't want to talk
Maybe,
about it.
look, maybe MWR can give us some pointers, right?
Absolutely.
How to minimize. See? How you like that?
Absolutely. Look at Tammy come through now. But yeah, shout out to MWR. We do show you how to strategize, how to minimize your taxes throughout strategy.
There
Not
you go.
tax evasion, but tax minimization. Okay.
Come on.
Yes,
Love
yes.
it,
Come through
love it.
commercial.
Oh my.
Okay, is that it, Bessie?
That's all I got. That's all I
Good.
got. I wasn't messy.
That was
I was
good.
just very
You weren't
informative
messy.
today.
Yes,
There you
yes.
go,
I
there
love
you
it.
go.
I love it.
We want to elevate. We don't want to be messy all the time. We like messy. We like fun mess, not
Oh,
like
yeah,
fun
yeah,
mess.
yeah.
Yeah,
Elevate. I'm not gonna do it.
We're gonna send a clip to the boys so we can get you on.
Oh,
Yes. Just cut out a bunch of these clips and put them all together.
Yay.
God. Put them all together. They're gonna say,
Put them all together.
What's wrong with her?
Okay, guys, we're
Wow.
going to get hot to execution. So I captured 3 behaviors that could give you an indication that you may be an enabler. One is you have a bat phone. This person has you on speed dial because you are constantly coming to their rescue in a situation that you did not create. That's one. Number 2, your life revolves around the other person. Your interests, hobbies, and personal goals take a back seat to the latest fire in that other person's life. When you drop everything you're doing, when they call, then that's a problem. And the third one is your whole life is like deja vu. The relationship never seems to get better. Situations continue to crop up and you continue to be their solution because they put forth little to no effort. So yeah, it just keeps happening over and over and never ends.
That is
Never stops.
so good.
You might want to consider that you are an enabler. And the quote of the day comes from Horace Mann, who is a politician, I think. He said, the highest service we can perform for others is to help them help themselves. And that's it.
Help you. Yeah.
Help me help you.
My mama said I ain't helping nobody who ain't gonna help and roll her neck.
Look, I'm not going to give you a fish. I'm going to teach you how to fish.
Come on now.
We got a whole lot. Love it. Okay, ladies. Well, happy holidays, everyone.
Yes.
Enjoy your holidays. Hope we gave you something that can help you out. And I guess we'll see you after Christmas.
Yes.
All right, guys.
Bye. You gonna take us away with the jingle bell on your baby?
That's Santa Claus on the roof.
Jesus is the reason for the season.
He is.
You're not gonna sing that?
He is. Jesus is the reason for the season. Let's not forget.
The reason for the season. Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that.
Okay.
There you go.
Bye, you guys.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas.